Welcome to eFluxFX Tutorials. This tutorial will be a three-part tutorial where we'll do an in-depth dive into motion clips. This is for beginner to intermediate or anyone that needs a refresher. We'll look at motions from multiple sources including mix moves, motion capture, and BVH sources such as Miximo. We'll cover all the tools necessary to combine, edit, and use multiple motions easily and accurately. Tools include motion setting options, the align and speed tool, merge, flatten, sample clips, break clips. We won't include motions along a path only because those are already covered very well by Real-Illusion. So with that, let's get started. So first thing we did is we applied this CC3 character to IClone. The character himself will come in at the origin. The origin is reflected by the gizmo, as you can see here at the base of the character. It's got three axes. The y-axis is always shown in green, the x-axis in red, and the z-axis in blue. And as you can see clearly, and each axis points towards the positive direction for that axis, and that will become important as we start applying clips. So let's turn the character back on. Let's talk about the views. I know it's pretty basic, but it never hurt to cover. So we start out with, if you hit the F on your keyboard, that'll give you your front view. G will be the top, D will be the back view, S is your left side, and A is your right side view. So we'll go back to the front. And then if you look up here, you'll see your move tool where you have both the world move, which is represented by the symbol here, and that aligns with the world coordinates, and then the local move. And you can always tell local because there will be a small circle in the center of the symbol at the top on the toolbar. On the for the rotate tool, you'll have parent and local. The local will also have a circle in the middle, donating local. So anytime you see a circle in the middle, you're local, and anytime you see a solid, that'll be your either your parent or your world. Can show you the shortcuts are W will toggle the world and local, and for the move, and then for the rotate, hit the E and that'll toggle. So let's go ahead and move the character out of line and show you the difference between what it means to say world parent versus local. So let's go ahead and we'll angle the character, and you'll notice we can either use the blue line and rotate, or we can just type in the angle. In this case, let's just pick 45-degree angle. So you can type it in under the rotate, under the modify tab, or you can just use the tool. So if you look here, you can see that when we're in world, on the world tool for the move tool, you can see the tool aligns with the point of origin and the world. When we go and we select the local, now the origin is aligned with the character and how the character is set up. And in this case, it's 5 degrees from the world transform. So this is very important as we manipulate and move characters around and align. And then that's really important when we rotate. So if you look here, we're in world rotate mode, and if you'll notice, because the rotate rotates around this specific axis, you see the character doesn't really move right to left or back and forward. It's skewed because of the 45-degree angle, but it is moving perfectly in line around the axis. Again, red moves around the x-axis, green moves around the y, and blue moves around the red. And now when we go to the local, you'll see now the character rotates from back, left to right, and again it lines up with the local move tool. So you can use that to kind of get an idea of how the character will rotate, and those are very important. And as you can see here, let's go and you can kind of see how the tool aligns. And again, you can see the difference just one more time, just to show you how the world, again, as we move the green circle, it'll move around the Y. And then the local, you can see now the Y is using the local Y axis. So they are different, and it's important to know that. Now, there's a couple different ways you can reset these. We can just zero it out, type in 0 to get them back to the base, or we can just hit zero out, reset, and it'll move everything right back to the origin. Your choice, depending on how you want to get, whether you want to move all just the character to the location, or you want to completely reset them. So let's pull up the move. So I've gone ahead, and if you go to the animation tab under motions, and I've just picked mix moves. Again, we'll look at the other motions, motion capture and BVH later. And I want to make sure everything is reset. So we're starting from scratch. It's a brand new project. And we're going to use the walk animation. So the first thing I want to show you is the animation will start wherever your cursor is. So in this case, the walk animation, I had the cursor on frame 100, and that's where the character will start moving. The ability to move these around is important, especially if you have multiple characters interacting. So in this case, we just want it at the origin, so let's move it back, and you'll notice now he starts right away. These motions aren't the best, but they're good enough, and they're perfect for teaching. So we'll start with these, since these are kind of the baseline for the standard motions within IClone. So, and they're free. A lot of the other motions here you would have to pay for or require subscriptions to other services. Now, the first thing I want you to notice when we applied the motion and we scroll down, you'll notice that the root of the motion stays at the origin. It does not move with the character. And at first that might not seem like a big deal, but let's go ahead and apply a second walk motion because we want him to continue walking, and look what happens. As soon as we apply the motion, the character drops back to the root and restarts at the same location as the previous motion. And how we fix that's pretty easy, and there's actually two different options, and it depends on what you want to accomplish. So if you look here, when we select the motion, you'll see this little box here that I'm highlighting. That's the transition region. That's a region that'll transition from one motion to the other. Whenever I'm lining up motions, I just close that out by just dragging it to the right. And now we can see very clearly what's going to happen. So we go to the last frame of the previous motion, and as soon as we get to the first frame of the new motion, it drops back. So how do we fix that? So in this case, we're going to look at using the Align tool, and then we'll go forward. So what we want to do is we'll scroll along, and we'll try and decide where we want. So if it looks here, or how we want to proceed. So it's definitely planting on his right leg. So we're going to right click. We're going to scroll up to Align, and we're just going to select right leg. Here we go. And you can see there's different options here, but in this case, for walking motion, it's usually best to align to one of the legs. So we're going to just right click, click Align, and look at that. He scrolls right through. A little bit of a hiccup, but pretty smooth right off the bat, and it no longer resets. Now, one of the things you'll notice right away, let's take the top view, and I will scroll through, and there we go. Sorry, trying to find a better way to show this. If you double click, there we go. If you select a piece of clothing by accident, just click on it one more time and it'll go back to the base. So when we start, here we go, select the tool. You'll notice throughout the motion, one of the important things is you'll notice the root stays at the origin where we started from. And that won't change no matter how many motions we apply. And that can be beneficial depending on what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm going to show you two different examples using this method and another method for combining motions. And each will allow you to do different things. So if we come along here, let's go out to and add. Let's see here. Get just the right view. All right, so we scroll out, we see he's walking along a pretty much straight line, and now let's select the rotate tool. And you'll notice when we go to rotate, the rotate tool again stays at the origin, so when we rotate it, it'll move the character over, but you'll notice it doesn't rotate the character, it actually rotates the path the character took. And you can do two cool things with it. So the first is if we take it out near the end of the motions, Now you'll watch, because of the way it transitions, it will actually kind of curve in that direction. So you can have a nice smooth walk by rotating it from the end. The other option is, as I'll show you in a second, we can rotate from the beginning, and then he'll walk in a straight line. And to do that, it's pretty easy. So again, let's just show it one more time so it's pretty clear what we're doing. See how he just kind of curves along the path till he gets to that point, and then he would walk straight. Or we can drag that transform point all the way back to the origin, and now he'll walk straight in that direction. So if you want to change directions, this is an easy way to do it. So let's just say your path isn't quite where you need it. This is a great way to do it, because we can change it right at the origin. And you can see here, if we wanted to delete the transform point, now we can restore it, and he's walking straight again. So very easy options, very easy to do, and it can help you get the character right where he is. So let's reset everything, and now I'm going to show you another way to do it. This is the way that I find most useful for most of my animations. So delete everything, make sure everything's reset. Now I'm going to come over to the animation, and then I'm going to go to the sample motion clip, and I'm going to select align actor motion. This is the next. This will align the actor, the motion clip with the next motion clip will start at the end of the previous motion clip. The next one, which is align actor orientation, is the angle of the character will be continuous through the character turns by the motion clip. Even though the character turns by the motion clip, sorry, and then reset the motion root, which would be, this is good for like imported BVHs where the root is not at 0, 0, 0. That'll fix that. And then the reset motion root is where the character's facing like a certain direction, maybe dancing, etc., like motion capture, where that can help. So we'll go ahead and we will, we've selected again the align actor motion, and we will bring in the first clip. Well, so the first thing you're going to notice, when you're only using one clip, it doesn't matter, right? The character comes in, he comes in at the origin, he starts walking. So we have, there's no issues there. The challenge will come in as we add the second animation and the second motion. So here, what you'll see real quick is it's actually it's quite easy to now to combine clips. So let's get over here, zoom in, and remember the second clip will always come in at the point. The motion clip will always come in at the point where the cursor is. So we'll bring it in, and again you can see the transition region highlighted there. But now you can see is the character comes in and he just walks straight away. You don't have to do anything more. You don't have to align anything. Their character's aligned. He's walking a straight line and he keeps moving. Now you'll notice there is a hiccup in his step, and there's a couple ways to fix that. So the first thing, sometimes with loop motions, when you have a big transition region, it can actually cause the transition to slow down. So one of the ways to do that is to delete that, and let's see here, hang on a second. And let's remove the transition, sorry about that, and then move the clip over, and now let's play it through. So all of a sudden that big hiccup's gone. Maybe there's just a little hitch, but you can see it's much smoother already. That transition was actually causing the characteristics of the way it interprets those was causing the problem. But there's still a little bit of a hitch, so how do we get rid of that? So what we'll do here is we'll zoom in, and you can see just there. So we'll want to cut out a couple of frames, and here's where the the break motion will come in handy. So I'm going to move over about 2 frames, click on break, and you notice nothing happens. That's because you have to break at least 3 frames out. So let's slide over one more, right click, go up to break, and there we go. And then if you hit delete, whatever's a highlighted section of delete out, we'll slide that over. Again, we don't want to transition on these because we can see it, and look at that. That's pretty smooth. Now you can work with it a little more, but for the to keep the tutorial moving, we'll go ahead and call it. So again, we can watch, and you can see he's walking pretty smooth. There was, again, just a little bit of a hiccup there. And again, probably need to trim 1 or 2 more frames, maybe add a very small transition region, because you can transition over a couple frames or 10 or 20. So, but I'll let you guys, each motion's different, so there's no hard and fast rule. Just play around with it a little bit until you get the transition smooth. But that's the basic steps. So now let's add another walk motion, but this time we're going to have the character. I want to show. Well, actually, let me show you something. Let's just say we selected the align act orientation. It might seem, well, obvious. Why not select? And this is what's important here, is to show you this so that you know not to unnecessarily just turn everything on. So look what happens. Let's get rid of the transition, so the transition from one clip to another will be very obvious. So if we go to the last frame, look what happens when we go between the two. See how the character just slightly, because the character was walking slightly offline, so he lines back up with the beginning of the clip, and it creates a little bit of a jog in his step. So that's why you don't want to just turn all 4 of those on, all 4 of your motion setting options on at all time. In this case, we don't need the align actor orientation, so we'll turn that off. And by the way, you can have align actor motion on by itself, but you cannot have actor align orientation by itself. You need both to use that. So now we've gone back to just align actor motion. In this case, let's put a 45 degree or 30 degree jog in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and double click on the transform so that I lock in the position, and then I'm going to rotate him, let's just say 30 degrees, and apply another motion. For now, let's, as always, like I said, I like to start by getting rid of the transition, slide that over, and you can see he's going to move. Now, obviously, that's way too sharp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that transform key, and I'm going to pull it over where I set the point where he's going to start turning. And that's better, but I need to smooth that transition out, maybe move that back a little more. And then if you click, you can see here, and you can see the tool with the double-headed arrow that allows you to drag out that transition. And there we go. Now you can make so now your character, let's look at it from overhead. And you can see how the character now, you can, by combining multiple clips and all just moving in a straight line, you can, by using the align actor tool and your transforms and different tools, you can have the character walk and make a slight turn and walk down the street. So those are the main things I wanted to show you with regards to walking in a straight line. Zoom in here a little bit, and there we go. Let's delete everything, and now let's jump over and talk about what happens when we have a character within the motion clip actually change direction. So we're going to reset everything. As you can see there, we're back at the origin, and we're going to make sure, we're going to start out, just for example, by making sure all the motion setting options are turned off, and we're going to go ahead. Let's use this walk turn animation in Mix Moves. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to apply the motion, and you can see he turns around. So let's take a look at what happens with the root of the motion, and you'll notice it doesn't move. And you'll notice as he turns around, it stays oriented in the same direction. So in essence, he goes from the negative Y direction to the positive Y direction. And why is that a problem? So let's apply a walk animation at the end of the turn, and let's watch what happens. So if you remember, the walk animation goes in the negative Y direction. So he's facing the wrong way. So as soon as you bring the animation in, you'll see what happens, right? And I'm not going to worry about repairing the little hiccup in the step because we kind of went over the steps to do that already. And you can see he turns around and he flips right back and he starts heading in the other direction. Well, I'm pretty sure we don't want to do that. Could, and that's how you would do it. But so let's go ahead and look at how we would fix that. So let's clear out all these motions, and what I'm going to show you, you do have to apply to both motions. Otherwise, the character won't be set up correctly. So we're going to go up to animation, and now we're going to do the align actor motion. And this time we're actually going to use both. We're going to have the align actor motion, and we're going to have the align actor orientation. So hit it, and then let's come back up. I wish they would make this so that it would stay open. And now we're going to select both of these. And now we're going to apply those same motions, and let's look at the difference. So we're going to go ahead and apply the walk turn. And as we slide, now look what's happening. Look at the root. The root is actually changing direction with the character. Now, I forgot to mention before. You'll notice we are looking at the local move tool. If you switch back to of course the world tool, that's always going to be pointed in the same direction. So you have to be using to observe this. You have to be in the local mode. So now by adding the align act orientation, now the character continues to stay focused and pointed in the minus Y direction. And now when we bring in the walk animation, by just again double clicking on the animation, lining it up, and now the character just continues walking straight, because the motion will come in and will align to the actor and move the actor along in the Y direction. Look at that. He keeps walking in a straight line. So it's very important that we understand how the motions operate, how they come in, and how they react to the different settings. And and you can't, again, you don't want to just turn all of them on. The align actor motion combined with the align actor orientation in one instance gets us what we want. In the other instance, as we saw with just the straight motions, it actually started straightening out the motion, and that's not what we wanted. So again, just to re-emphasize everything that we've been kind of talking about, we bring in the motion. You can, if we don't bring it in with just the align, if we bring it in with just the align actor motion, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then if we add the align actor orientation, now the orientation stays consistent, and the character will the negative Y direction now has essentially flipped 180 degrees, and the character can properly will go in the direction that we were hoping it would, continuing in that straight line. So I kind of hope this helps. Again, we appreciate it, and I will be moving to the next part where we'll start talking about some of the other tools, including how to edit the motion clips and add additional motions, and using the flatten, the merge, and the sample motion clip tools, and how those help. So look forward to the next section, and thank you for watching.